Hey everyone, it's Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft. Welcome back to the channel. This is a process video and I had hoped to have it a little bit earlier for you, but you're getting it toward the end of the month only because when I make these process videos and I take photos of the finished layout, I have to edit those photos. I have to crop them down to size, add my website onto it as like a watermark, and I do that through a free program online called Pixlr. And it used to be that you could edit as many photos as you wanted throughout, the day, the month, whatever. And then a couple of years ago, they wanted people to actually pay for the paid version. And so they changed the free version. And now, at first when they changed it, you could only do one photo a day. Now you can do 3. But like sometimes I need to crop something and then I need to make it a little bit bigger. Like I sometimes just have to save like 4 things. And so then if I get some of it done one day, I have to remember or find the time to go back and do it another day. And that's kind of a problem. But anyway, here's another process video for you. And this is a 2-page layout. If you watched my haul video from earlier, you will know that I purchased these products specifically to scrapbook these photos. These are photos from Six Flags Holiday in the Park, which is unfortunately not something Six Flags does anymore. But back in 2023, we went there over Thanksgiving weekend, had some pretty good weather, and the park was decorated for Christmas. I have some pictures of my daughter meeting some of the costumed characters, and we actually used that for a Christmas card that year. If you stay as the night falls, I mean, they're not open that late, but if you stay as it gets dark, there are Christmas lights everywhere. One year we did s'mores. They had fire pits set up and you could roast s'mores. So anyway, it's pretty cool. And I always like taking pictures of everywhere we go. So I was trying to get all of these Six Flags photos put together on one 2-page layout. And I really, really love that, that flag paper. I don't know why I could not think of the word flag. I was just talking about it. So what I'm kind of doing here, obviously the flag paper is because we were at Six Flags. And I cut it so that you could, I only needed that small strip that was going to be showing on the side of the photos. And then the background, I'm just using some pieces that I found at a thrift store. And I guess they kind of remind me of the matting in a picture frame. I mean, you could use them as a photo. You could use them on a scrapbook layout, but I just didn't really like them. But they are fairly sturdy cardstock. And so I decided that was going to be my background base, and I was just going to stick everything else on top of it. Now, the problem is that the photos that I have, even though they claim to be 4x6, they do not stretch all the way across. There's like, I don't even know the measurement, but you can see there's a hole there in between those 2 photos. And if they were really 4x6, they would stretch across the whole page, top to bottom. So I realized that if I have a hole there, there's a hole in the paper because of that, I don't even know what size it is, because of the rectangle that's cut into the back cardstock. So I had to kind of revamp my original plan. I have enough of the flag paper for the other side. It's just that what I cut was so small, so I had to add another strip. And then I think I might actually add another strip to this. Do I have 3 strips? I don't remember. But anyway, so I just needed it so that you couldn't see holes, right? On the other side, this stuff fits just fine. So there's that's my head. Yeah, there's a 4x6 there. And then the middle piece is going to be a 4x6 yellow piece of cardstock. And then the bottom will be another 4x6 photo. And it's going to be mirrored on the opposite page. Obviously, placement of embellishments will be a little bit different. But for this 2-pager, which I have done before, I've done this design before. I saw it on Pinterest. For this one, it's just a basic mirror design. And I think that just makes it really easy. There are so many photos on this. I think it would be really hard to try to make it look different. And of course, I put double-sided adhesive squares on places where there's nothing to adhere it to because of that big hole. So I have to take those off, and then I'm going to try to like repurpose them. I hate when I have to throw away adhesive. And now I'm just going to stick some cheapo Walmart Duck Brand washi tape on the back just to keep those pieces together and kind of make where that hole is a little bit sturdier. Yeah. And can I just say that, well, I said I hate having to like throw away those adhesives, and I've been having a lot of trouble with those adhesives. I cannot wait until the day when I place my next scrapbook.com order and I get new adhesive squares. Actually, I have some double-sided adhesive tape that came in a craft kit that I reviewed for work, and I'm just going to use the excess tape for scrapbooking, right? Like, why would I get rid of that? Why would I give that to my kid to use for her? I'm going to use it for my craft stuff, of course. All right, so now I've got all these other pattern papers, and these are supposed to be Disney themed pattern papers. I'm using the sides that aren't specifically Disney because we're not at Disney. But could I then save the bits and pieces for our next Disney trip when I scrapbook those photos? Of course I could. So it's always good to have a little bit of leftover pieces like that in your stash so that if you like were to go on a vacation to Disney or whatever the theme of the pattern paper is, you already have a little bit left over and you could like get started maybe. Scrapbook like a page or two with your leftover bits, and you don't have to buy a whole bunch of new things. I'm cutting these into banners per the original sketch. The first time I did this layout, and there should be a process video for it somewhere, I think. If I can find it, I'll link it. It wasn't too long ago, a couple months ago. But the first time I did this, I did not do the banners in the center of the photos. I just kept that, I think I kept it open and I used it for journaling. Like maybe one side was the title and one side was a journaling spot, like a big journaling spot. Obviously here I'm keeping it straight with the sketch. So I've got three big banners and then two small ones. If I could remember the measurements, I would tell you. I think I cut the big ones to be, maybe it's 2x4. They're 2x4 and then the bottom is just the banner. And then the smaller pieces then I guess were like 1x3 maybe, and then cut into banners. And I did ink the edges of those because I wanted them to stand out a little bit against the pattern papers underneath. So on this side, all that's left is to add a title and some embellishments. And so I purchased that really cool Ferris wheel embellishment. It's from I guess a smaller scrapbook company, and it's a wooden embellishment. You do have to like stick on your own adhesive. But I bought that because I wanted something big to go in this, 4x6 spot there. And then the title is going to be this big American Crafts puffy word that I randomly found on my desk. And I said, you know what? That kind of goes with this. And the word is remember, like remember when we went to Six Flags Holiday in the Park? Remember when Six Flags still did Holiday in the Park? So those, that has lost its adhesive, if it ever had any. So I just use an Elmer's glue stick and stick that down. It goes on purple, but it does dry clear. I think it's like, school glue for kids, whatever. So they can see where they're putting it and don't use too much. Although I have to tell you, working with preschoolers, they use too much glue anyway. Anywho, so see, here's how I should have originally done the other side. Just taken a big 6-inch by 12-inch piece of that flag paper, and then I wouldn't have had to worry about cutting the smaller strips. Always cut bigger than you think you are going to need. I think that's my advice. Because you can always cut down if it's too big, but it's sometimes difficult to cut. You can't cut more, then you got to like Frankenstein if you're going to add more. So always cut bigger than you think you might need. I'm sticking the photos down first, and then I'm going to stick this down. The back cardstock thing has different holes, a different pattern cut out into it. So there's a little bit more sturdiness that needs to be added to this. And again, I will use the duct tape brand washi tape that I got at Walmart. My daughter actually wanted it. She wanted to put washi tape all over her Barbie dream house. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to use this one because I need some more washi tape for myself. So I'm just sticking down these other photos, making sure that I cover up all the holes. And if there are any gaps, those get covered up as well. Again, it's basically a mirror image of what's on the other side. So I'm thinking you probably don't need to see how this entire side comes together. So with the magic of editing, I'm just going to snap my fingers and we're going to get to the embellishments. Okay, so I have everything stuck down. I changed up the banners on this side of the page. I didn't use the exact same patterns for each size. So like some of the three bigger ones are so blah, blah, blah. On the left hand side, the two smaller ones got to be big and the two big ones are now smaller on this side, if that makes any sense. I didn't want it to be too samey, and I wanted to make sure that I used a variety of those patterns and an equal portion of those pattern papers. So now comes the fun part and also the hard part, because like I said, some of this stuff is from Disney themed collections. They don't come outright and say Walt Disney World, but they've got elements on them that are Disney. I don't know if it's a licensing thing where they can't say Disney, but they've got stuff on it that says Main Street and like, I don't know. There's so many elements that are so like Disney specific, or the Mickey ears that they're using. They've got stickers of the chocolate ice cream Mickey bar, right? So like there has to be some sort of like legit licensing agreement. These companies aren't just making Disney themed scrapbook pages without Disney's approval to use some of these specific images. So I don't know why they can't ever, or they don't ever say, maybe it's not that they can't, maybe it's just that they don't ever say Disney on their scrapbook titles. I don't know. Interesting question. If you know somebody who works in the scrapbooking industry, I would love to find out how that works. And I also feel like it's a missed opportunity to not be selling these products in Disney gift shops. Like when I go to a park, I want to come home and I could buy my scrapbook kit there and then come home and start scrapbooking. Anyway, I got the embellishments down while I was talking and I did some journaling in the film strip over there. Here's the finished layout. I hope it was inspiring for you and that you come back again to hear me rant and rave about weird scrapbooking things while I scrapbook. Bye!